All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Gediminas, and today we're going to talk about 5 stages of leadership. Network marketing is a people's business. And if you want to reach the highest levels, if you want to earn the biggest earnings, then inevitably you're going to have to become a leader. You're going to have to lead a large group of people. And if that's the case, then probably it would be useful to learn about different stages of leadership and how to become an effective leader, and what does the leader do, and what the best leaders in network marketing business do. So stage one of leadership is to lead yourself. You can't really lead other people until you learn how to lead yourself. So if you can't control even yourself, if you can't even discipline yourself, how can you ever dream about disciplining or leading or showing example to other people, right? That would be very difficult, wouldn't it? So step one is always to start with yourself, right? And to understand, one, that nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself, right? Nobody's going to come here and save the day and make your life wonderful, right? You need to make your life great, right? And to understand, what does it mean to lead yourself? Well, a person who leads themselves does do the work even when nobody else is watching. You know, we all work hard when somebody else is watching us, etc. But what happens when other people are not watching you, right? Like, imagine that for the last 30 days, a secret camera was following you. Would you be proud of what that camera filmed? Would you be excited to see that video? Or would you be embarrassed? Would you be like, oh my God, just please don't show anybody this video, right? Which case, which one would be, right? It's up to you, isn't it, right? Because, like my mentor, Eric Worre says, for some of us, if they took us to court and they had to prove that we do network marketing, there wouldn't be enough evidence. Right? So you couldn't really prove that you're doing network marketing because you're so well hidden, right? And a lot of people do what they call fake work in network marketing, right? Where they basically pretend to work, right? They say, well, I got up and got dressed. That's just like working. I got in a car and I drove somewhere. That's just like working, right? I sat behind some desk and that's just like working, right? But if you pretend to work, guess what's going to happen? The company will pretend to pay you. Now, I bet that's not what you want, but that's what's going to happen unless you actually start doing it properly, right? And unless you start leading yourself, right? So if I ask you this question, how much would you pay another person, for the work you did over the last 30 days? If you had to pay somebody else for the work that you did over the last 30 days in your network marketing business, how much would you pay them? And if it's not a lot, then the question, why? Why aren't you doing the work? Because, you should say, well, I would pay another person £5,000 because that's how much work I put into my business. And if you didn't, then why not? What's going on? Do you not believe in yourself? Do you not believe in your business? What's the problem, right? Why aren't you putting the work that you deserve and that your business deserves, right? And the challenge is that a lot of people come into home-based business from a traditional job, and they come to business because they want to be their own boss, because they want to be independent, because they want to do what they want, right? And that's the problem. Because we are not good boss for ourselves, right? I know we want to be our own boss, but we are not a great boss for ourselves. Very few of us can discipline ourselves to actually do the work as much as we need to do, right? So you have to, the stage one of leadership to lead yourself is you have to make that commitment to be the best boss you can be, right? For yourself, right? Which means to discipline yourself to do the daily method of operation, to do the income producing activity every single day, because without that, we can't go to other stages of leadership. If you can't lead yourself, if you can't discipline yourself, then there's nothing even, we can't even talk about the other 4 stages of leadership, because you won't be able to show example, you won't be able to lead other people either, right? So that's stage one. Second stage of leadership is to lead your team. So once you've learned how to lead yourself, then and only then you can actually start leading other people. And of course, one part of leading your team is actually to lead by example, to actually show people what you want them to do. So like my mentor Ray Higdon says, the best thing you can do for your team is build a new team. Right? So if you want your team members to sell more, you sell more and show them. If you want your team members to recruit more, you recruit more and show them, right? So it's all about showing an example, whether that's social media, whether that's recruiting, whether that's selling, or whatever it is, right? Also, you have to be consistent, right? People will not trust a leader that is inconsistent. You know, that was one of my mistakes when I first started in network marketing. I was super duper inconsistent. You know, one day I would be going, guys, let's go, let's go, let's go. It's going to be amazing. And then I disappear for 3 weeks. Then I reappear and I go, come on, come on, come on, come on, let's go. And these guys are going like, what the heck is going on? Like, are we doing this or we're not doing this? You know, I was confusing the heck out of them because I was inconsistent. You know, as a leader, you have to be that rock. You have to be that stable part, you know, that common denominator in the whole business that people can trust and know that you are there for a long run, right? And also, in order to lead your team, you need to use assignments and campaigns, right? So a lot of people come into network marketing from an employee mentality, from an employee job, right? And in their jobs, they're used to getting tasks. They're used to getting told what to do, then they go and do it. Then they come back, get told what else to do, then they go and do it. But when they come into business, when they come into network marketing, we just go, well, you know, that's our group, that's the thing, and go figure it out. And that's like, it's like Chinese, because they go, well, figure out what? What am I supposed to do? What exactly do I need to do? So a lot of people simply need instruction. You know, very often we're looking at our team and they say, oh, you know, my people are lazy. My people are not doing anything. Well, a lot of them are not lazy. They just don't know what to do because you haven't actually given them a clear instruction, a clear campaign of, this is, guys, what we do this week. This is the product we're selling this week. This is the, you know, incentive program we're focusing on this month. This is what, right? Clear campaigns, clear instructions, clear assignments or tasks, right? And there are 5 attributes of a real leader, right? First, a real leader is independent. So they can do the business by themselves. Now, they welcome the help, they use the help, but they don't really need the help, right? They could actually build the business by themselves, even if they didn't have a sponsor, even if the whole upline would quit tomorrow, right? Number 2, real leaders are problem solvers. So they don't just try to pass on the problem to somebody else right away. They try to solve the problem by themselves first, and only if they can't solve it by themselves, then they go to their upline, then they go to the company, right? But they will try to resolve the problem by themselves. Number 3, they're consistent. And like I already said, consistency is a key, right? Whether it's in social media, whether that's in working with your team members, whether that's in selling, consistency is the key. Almost anything will work for you in network marketing if you do it consistently. Most people don't succeed in network marketing, not because they're using strategies that don't work, it's because they use the strategies that do work not long enough. They don't give it enough time. They try 3 times, they don't get the result, and go, it doesn't work. They send free messages, don't get the result, it doesn't work. And they keep jumping from one strategy to the next, to the next, to the next, never realizing that almost any one of those strategies would have worked if they just stuck with it long enough. 4th quality of a leader is a big vision, right? So a real leader has a big vision. They're not just here to make some extra income. They're not just here to get by, to make a few $100 extra, right? They're here with the big goals, big ambitions. Usually it involves other people and it involves something big, right? So it's something that can excite other people. Because like if you're in this business because you just want to make, you know, 100 a month extra, that's totally cool. It's not a problem, right? No judgment there. But it's not going to excite a lot of people if you say to people, well, I just want to make some extra cash, right? That's not going to excite other people. Go, oh yes, let me join your mission of helping you to make some extra cash. That's probably not going to happen, is it? That's not going to excite other people. But if your mission is to help, you know, 6 people in your team to become 6-figure earners, well, that's exciting because maybe I will be one of those 6 people, right? That changes everything, isn't it? If your vision is to build an orphanage or build a church or go save the whales or whatever, right? If it's a bigger vision than just yourself, just your own personal gain, then that also excites other people, right? And then number five, quality number five of a real leader is that a real leader creates activity where activity wouldn't have happened otherwise. A real leader creates activity where activity wouldn't have happened otherwise, right? So leaders do this all the time. They keep talking to the team members, they keep calling their customers, and they promote something. Hey, have you heard about this new product that came out? Hey, have you heard about this special offer that's on? Hey, have you heard about this incentive program that's happening? Hey, have you heard about this training that's going to happen, right? And basically, maybe somebody in your team wouldn't have done anything this month, but you call them and you tell them about this training and they decide to participate. You just caused action where action wouldn't have happened. There's another team member, maybe they wouldn't have done anything this month. You give them a call and you tell them about this new product that just came out. They decide to order. You just caused action where action wouldn't have happened, right? So again, that's a real sign of a leader who causes a lot of action happen where it wouldn't have happened, right? Third stage of leadership is to identify potential leaders within your team. Now, of course, we would love to everybody to be leaders in our team, but that's not going to happen, right? Only certain people in your team will actually become leaders, and others will just remain as team members, right? They're never going to be leaders, and that's okay. We need all of them, right? But how do you identify potential leaders in your team? Well, there's three qualities that a potential leader has to have. If a person doesn't have these three qualities, they're not likely to become a leader in your team. Quality number one, they have to be willing to do the work. They have to be willing, right? They have to be willing to do the work. They have to be willing to put in the time and the effort, right? If somebody doesn't want to do the work, they're not likely to become leaders. Quality number two, they have to be coachable, which means they have to be able to listen to instructions. If you tell something to that person, they'll go and do that, right? If somebody is a know-it-all person, if somebody is a glass full person where we can't pour anything in, then it's very difficult to help that person become a leader because they will not be coachable. They will not listen to the advice they've been giving. And the third quality is they have to be hungry. They have to be hungry for better life. They have to be hungry for changes in their life. They have to be hungry to make more money, reach more, fulfill their potential, etc. If a person is not willing to do the work, if they're not coachable, if they're not hungry, it's just not likely that they will become a leader. They might, but it's a very, very small chance, right? And why do you need these three qualities? Because most people are tourists. They're not here to stay. They come here, spend, a few months, they disappear, But a real leader is here for good. A real leader is here to stay for a long, long, long time, right? And if they don't have those three qualities, they're probably not going to become a leader. And why do you want to identify those people who will become potential leaders? Well, because you're going to be pouring yourself into that person. You'll be investing your time, and time is more valuable than money, because you might spend some money and you can earn it back. You can lose some money and you can earn it back. But if I've invested 3 months into somebody and that person quits, then I've just lost 3 months of my life that I'm never gonna get back. It's gone, right? There's no way for me to get it back. So that's why you have to be super selective on who you're going to develop into these leaders into your team, and identify the right people, because sometimes we want this person to be the leader, but they don't have the three qualities, but we try to make a leader out of them, even if it kills us, right? And we nearly die. So that's why you want to make sure that you select the right people to become leaders. Then stage number 4 in leadership is to mentor people into leadership, right? Which means help them to develop the 5 characteristics of the leader. So how could you help your team members to become more independent? Well, maybe instead of just giving them all the information, tell them where to find it. Maybe instead of explaining them a question that they give them a video that explains that question. So they become more independent by actually doing their own learning, doing their own research, and actually understanding something. How could you help your team members to become problem solvers? Well, like one of my mentors used to say, don't bring me a monkey without a banana. What does he mean by that? It means don't bring me a problem without a potential solution. So if you're coming to me with a problem, you better come already with an idea how to solve that problem and ask me for my opinion. Because if you just go, can you, right? That means you're not problem solver. You're just problem giver. You're giving problems to other people, but you're not even trying to solve them yourself. Like Eric Warrior says, a great way to solve problems. Question number one, what can I do? If there's nothing you can do, question number two, what could I learn? And then question number three is, who could I ask? And question or statement number four, don't ask first. So first ask yourself, what can I do in this situation? Secondly, ask yourself, what could I learn? What could I find out to solve this problem? And if the first two fail, only then ask yourself, who could I ask? Who could I? But a lot of people are not great problem solvers. They just go straight away to their leader. They just go straight away to the company instead of trying to find out the information, right? So how could you help your team members to become better problem solvers, right? Number three, consistency. How could you help your potential leaders to become consistent, right? And one of the ways is accountability. If you get the person accountable to you, that means reporting on a daily basis what they've done that day, like how many messages did they send, how many posts did they do, how many follow-ups did they do, etc. If they start reporting you on a daily basis, it's much bigger chance that they will be consistent with it, isn't it? Than if they don't report to you, if they're not accountable to anybody, right? So again, if somebody's serious enough about building the business, if somebody's serious enough about making money, say to them, look, I propose you be you need to be consistent. And in order for you to be consistent, you have to be accountable. Would you like to be accountable to me? Would you like to send a report of your daily activity every single day to me? And if they agree, that will hold them much more consistent, right? Number four, big vision. How can you help your potential leader to develop that big vision? Well, maybe you need to sit down with that person and help them to set their goals. A lot of people have never written down their goals in their lifetime, right? And it doesn't mean you have to sit and write their goals down, but you can explain to them how to write their goals. They write out their goals and they send it to you for revision. You'll look through their goals, maybe correct some things, maybe identify some issues, send it back to them. They rewrite it, send it again until it's perfect, until it's big vision, until it's their dreams, right? And then they can read those goals all the time in order to keep their vision in their mind, right? Goals are not just you write them once, you write your goals and then you read them every single day to remind yourself, what is it that you want to accomplish? To remind yourself, what is your mission? What is your calling? What is your purpose on this earth, right? And then number five, how could you help your potential leaders to create activity in their team? Simple. Just get them to contact a certain number of people every single day within their team and promote something, right? Promote a product, promote a training, promote an incentive program, promote something to cause activity where activity wouldn't have happened, right? So that's stage 4 of leadership. And reality is that one, most people never become leaders by themselves in the business. They just remain constant followers. They just remain constant dabblers, amateurs who never treat this business seriously, because most people don't look at this business as a business or as a job. They look at it as a hobby, as a something to do, as a spare thing, right? Now, some people do become leaders, but most people never develop leaders in their team, right? They might become leaders by themselves, but they always say, oh, why don't I have leaders in my team, right? So they never actually go on to develop other leaders because they don't do what I just explained, the step 4. They don't actually work with their leaders to develop those 5 qualities. But then there's stage 5 of leadership, which is extremely rare. Like most people never get to that level in network marketing. And stage 5 of leadership is to duplicate leadership, which basically means now no longer that you are a leader, you are developing leaders within your team, but you're teaching your leaders how to develop other leaders. You see, some people get to stage 4 where they develop leaders in the team and they're getting leader after leader after leader, but their leaders never get their own leaders. Their leaders are always stuck just at being leaders, but they don't have leaders within their teams. And it sort of stops there. Why? Because this leader haven't taught their leaders how to develop leaders as well, right? And that's really where it stops, which prevents your business from growing. But if you get to stage 5 and you actually teach your team members, teach your leaders how to develop their own leaders, then that's the highest level of leadership. Why? Because you become unnecessary for your team. Your team no longer needs you. You know, for some of you, that's like, oh no, my team is not going to need me anymore. But that's a good thing, guys. That's the best thing. That's the ultimate freedom in business, when your team members no longer need you. They can develop their own leaders, and they teach their leaders how to develop their own leaders, and then your business can scale as crazy. Your business can grow to the highest heights. Your income can go through the roof and higher and higher and higher, because your business is now duplicating, is now growing without you, because they don't even need you. Because if they can develop their own leaders, that's it. You are no longer required. And one day, your team is so big that half of them don't even know you exist. Like, you come to a big training event and some people go, oh, this person, I think they're somewhere like high up, in our upline. I've never even met them, right? That's the best leadership. That's the real passive income, where you've created this machine that's churning out leaders after leaders after leaders after leaders, and you don't have to be there anymore. Because unless you reach the stage 5 of leadership and you teach your leaders how to develop their own leaders, then you will always be developing leaders with your team, within your team. So maybe it's 5 levels down, maybe it's 10 levels down, maybe it's 15 levels up, but it's you who has to physically come and work with that person directly to develop them into the leader, because nobody else is doing that within your team, right? That's not level 5 leadership. That's still level 4, which means you are developing these leaders. But if you teach your leaders how to do that by themselves, then that's it. You've cracked the code of leadership in this business. You now have a business that is duplicating, growing. And that's where your team can get into tens of thousands of people, then hundreds of thousands of people, and then maybe even over 1 million, etc.